Hi guys, thank you for joining the Vegan Stew. We're coming in a different way today because we don't have Helene or Kimberly with us today, but we do have a great topic. This is our one of our many episodes, and today's episode is about being a thrifty vegan. So we want to thank our sponsors to start off: Fabulous Rebel Cheese, Hodo Foods, Follow Your Heart, Revolution Gelato, Cinnaholic, Terra Seed. And if you'd like to get any of those prizes, the Vegan Stew gives away the best prizes, and our partners are just the best. Go over to our YouTube channel, subscribe over there, or go to trianglevegfest.com, and you can get on the list to pick up one of those great prize packs. So today we have with us Marla with Vegan Street,
Hi.
and Tilted Planet. We have the wonderful Sangita. So we're here today, and we have a little bit of news. So and again, we're sorry for starting off not with the bells and whistles, but hey, we're all here to learn, right? So
Right.
let's go ahead, Marla. Give us some news. We have a couple of pieces of news today.
Yeah, we have two really, positive pieces. One is that the Good Food Institute recently released a report that plant-based foods um, uh, made $7.4 billion in 2021, which was a 54% increase from 2018 when they started tracking it. And this was at a time when all total food sales only grew by 2%. So that's really significant.
Wow.
4% in the same time frame. Um, so that was really exciting. And then the second piece of really good news is that the Tofurky company won a landmark suit in Louisiana, which was one of those silencing lawsuits to try to get them to not use terms that are frequently associated with animal products. So anyway, a U.S. District Court in Louisiana ruled that they can use terms like sausage and burger, and not only Tofurky, of course, but all the other plant-based, companies that create vegan meat replacements. So the Animal Legal Defense Fund argued that it infringed on their First Amendment rights, and they won. So that's really great
That's
news.
good.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
excellent. Yeah, just like Miyoko did that with cheeses. She made a way for everybody with the vegan cheese.
Exactly.
So that's exciting news.
Yeah.
Although I'm not a big proponent of the
Yeah.
process, you all know that I don't really like all the process stuff.
What?
I don't. Look, Sangita and I are like woo, but because it is less toxic to the body, and it's a win. So
Yeah.
we've got to take our wins, and we've got to and then also I love hearing that 50%, that 54%
54%. Yeah,
with that is exciting news, the 54%. So
definitely.
I have a little bit of news that I heard, some good news too,
Yeah.
about the hospital systems. Those crazy places that give you chronic disease, promoting foods when they're after they take you out of surgery. Those places. So good news. Um, the hospitals, and there has been some legislation forwarded in the District of Columbia for Washington D.C. hospitals on the name of the bill is Healthy Hospitals Amendment Act of 2022. It's very similar to the act in 2018 in California about healthy hospital vegan options
Okay.
and they say plant-based options, of course,
Right.
100% plant-based. And then in New York in 2019, legislation was passed. So DC has followed suit. Several of the council members in DC submitted this, and the goal of it is for hospitals to be a place of healthy learning, and for all the staff,
Right.
volunteers, patients, and their families to have a vegan option on the
Mhm,
menu.
mhm.
And secondarily, they're also proposing to get rid of processed meats,
Oh my gosh,
bacon and sausage,
that's fantastic.
the
Well, I mean,
class
it's
one carcinogens, right? We
it's
need to get them out of
so
there. Processed meat.
yeah,
So it's been forwarded. So what we want to do is make sure that we get behind that in some type of way, and make sure that legislation is passed, because one state at a time,
yeah,
and that's a difference. But one state at a time, we can make a difference.
right. wouldn't it be nice if we could do it nationally, just like one fell swoop? But yeah,
Yeah.
it does seem like it always goes down that way, that path. Even these lawsuits about using, terms, they're state by state as well. But
Right.
we have to
Right.
take the wins as they come, and that's fantastic. It's ludicrous that hospitals would not offer plant-based foods, but also B, sell things that are disease promoting, or
Right. Well, I mean, that have been proven, where not just that it's a little bit, it's significant. You're coming out of the hospital with heart attack, you've had surgery, triple bypass surgery, and then they give you a sausage with paper, but sausage
right,
and bacon and eggs on it. And you have cancer, and then they give you dairy on the
right,
menu.
right, yeah.
Totally, totally absurd. We're thankful for the doctors and the team over at PCRM.
Mhm.
They really got behind this legislation. Dr. Barnard's crew
Yes.
over there, and they keep doing good work. And we just have to keep doing our work. So I'm excited about the things that are happening.
Yeah.
The world's pretty crazy, and this is good stuff.
It is really good news. Yeah, with everything going on, it's good to get these nuggets of good news. A lot of times it feels very hard to find,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, these are really important wins, and I think we have to acknowledge them because I think a lot of people who are vegan or on in this realm face burnout because we just get so much
Yes.
negative news all the time, so you got to pay attention
Yeah.
to the positive things.
Yeah. As your mom said, all of our parents always told us, celebrate the good.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of bad to go around. Let's celebrate the good.
That's true.
There's plenty of bad. So, Sangeeta, who is Sangeeta leading our conversation on the Thrifty Vegan tonight? Who's leading our conversation
I think
on the Thrifty Vegan? Whose
Well,
topic was this?
I don't even know, but I'm happy to leave.
I
Listen,
think
thank
that
you.
Kimberly was going to, but she's
Okay.
not.
Okay,
Well,
so
Sangeeta, please do take it.
okay,
Thrifty Vegan.
Sorry, baby.
of course. So it is one of the topics that I really think about a lot, Thrifty Vegan, because I hear a lot of comments like it's so expensive being vegan,
Mm-hmm.
when really it is not. So I will start with what I do. One thing is a lot of packaged food is expensive,
Yes.
and it
Mm-hmm.
has a specific shelf life as well, right? So if it was up to me, I would only shop in the produce section and in the bulk section.
Mhm.
I get my grains, I get my vegetables, and I try to avoid anything that is packaged. Now, I understand it's not for everybody. I grew up in India at the time where we did not have refrigerators. And so we would go to the grocery store and get all these things, and then we just directly cook them. And that's, as far as food is concerned, that's my way of being thrifty, and it's really not that expensive at all if you shop that way. Now, what do you do, Marla? For
Well, I do a lot because, like Dawn, I value thriftiness, and like you, Sangeeta.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of times we spend money unnecessarily on food, and so I wrote down. I'll just give like the briefest little bullet points. So as much as I can, I live in a climate that's not exactly a year-round growing season, but I grow my own when I can. Not everyone has a backyard, and not everyone has access to that. So there are things that you can do. There's like all kinds of like vertical, indoor even like ways that you can grow leafy greens and that sort of thing. So I do, in the summer months, we grow more ourselves, and then that kind of dovetails into I like to can and pickle and ferment and that sort of thing, and so that keeps the foods that we grow from being wasted or anything like that. I try to buy in season and locally because that cuts down. Then you're paying more when you buy out of season and it's imported. I mean, a lot of this has to do with the companies and the big ones that are able to buy in bulk and stuff like that. But like when you can buy locally and in season, I think that tends to be less expensive. Certain gadgets are helpful. Like if you have a blender, like if you know that you like to juice and buy juices and stuff like that, if you invest in a juicer, that's a good idea. If you like to drink smoothies, it's a good idea to buy a blender. If just having certain things, you don't have to go to town, you don't have to get the fanciest of things, but these, like even just like an air fryer or that kind of thing, it can help you cook more at home. Trying to keep this down. Shopping at ethnic markets can be a lot less expensive than like, Sangeeta, I know it's called something else in Indian markets, but what we call black salt,
Kala namak.
exactly. Buy that in an Indian market. Don't go to Whole Foods and buy that.
You can't even find it. At Whole Foods doesn't sell it.
No, Whole Foods doesn't sell it.
I found the
Whole Foods doesn't
smallest.
sell kala namak.
Right. Keeping, especially this is very helpful if you have children, keeping a weekly menu, sticking to a shopping list, but having flexibility about that. Like if zucchini is in season or avocados are having a great big sale, you can have some flexibility on that. That might be a better bet sometimes. So, keeping a shopping list, but also being kind of, flexible with it sometimes. Keeping a budget, all that, like that very sexy word. Oh, budget, how fun. Sometimes following your favorite brands, you'll get coupons and that sort of thing. You'll get special offers. Doing as much in-house is always helpful. Extending your meals, like if you make a big pot of chili, the next week you're going to have like chili dogs, or you can make tacos, or you can make taco salad. You can do whatever. Even with leftovers, I have a friend who had this really good idea, or carry out rather. So if you order food from the Thai restaurant, before you get that at home, like saute a bunch of vegetables and that sort of thing, and then you can extend that into 2 meals or maybe even 3 meals. It's a really, really good idea that I'd never thought of. Beans and lentils are always going to be much more affordable than prepared foods. And I'll maybe stop there. I have a whole bunch more.
Did Marla turn a page? Did Marla just turn the page, you guys?
He did, I think.
Oh my God. We're gonna be out. Oh no, this is great. Everyone who's tuned in is gonna be so good. They're gonna be so excited. This is good that we have this much information. I'm left with nothing actually, because Marla and Sangeeta just like took but this is good for everybody. I don't know if I have anything to add to that. And being a thrifty vegan, it's also about being thrifty with your time. The only thing that I could add that you didn't is was a meal prepper and professionally. So if you prep things when they come from the store, when you shop the produce, when you shop the perimeter, as Sangeeta said, and you don't shop the highly processed row, and you save thousands of dollars by that, but up to $7,000 a year, a certain study. And I don't have it right now because we talked about bringing your studies to the table. There was a study, and I wrote it in my cookbook. It's actually in there. You save up to $7,000 a year if you shop that way.
And who knows, like on your health too,
Oh, significant health differences. And I've asked somebody, anyway, won't digress onto the health, but yes, absolutely. The whole grains, the minimally processed foods are absolutely from 25 cents a pound to $3 a pound. Super low price, right? $3 would be the high end, like your fennel or maybe something like a beet, something, and that's not even $3 a pound, honestly. Maybe we're talking about some mushrooms. I'm not certain. But what I can tell you is if you prep those when you get them home, don't soak your mushrooms. Just those tips about prepping. Then you bag them, or you put them in the water if they're if they're leaves, put them in the water, and or you dry them and put them in paper towel and then put them in a bag. You'll preserve your food a little bit. Prepping makes a big difference. Go ahead and make your quinoa ahead. Make certain things ahead and then freeze them. Saves you a lot of money. Things don't go bad. I'm just trying to figure out what you didn't say, Marla.
Well, I was going to mention that one of the things that also helps is if you have all these vegetables and various things prepared, it makes it so much easier to make healthy choices quickly. Like, so like you want to make a big salad, you just grab from this bin, this bin, this bin, you make a giant salad. It takes 5 minutes rather than, you know what I mean? So yeah. Do you
It's
guys
just
have like an extra fridge or a freezer or anything like that?
so Sangeeta, did you?
We do, because my husband teaches cooking classes,
Yeah.
and when he's giving like 2 or 3 classes, then we have a lot of his vegetables and what he's going to need it. But
Right.
I will also point one more thing: is avoiding wastage is a major way, because we don't even realize how much food we stick in the refrigerator and
Yeah.
then forget about it.
Yeah.
Right. So when you're shopping, just I like to make a list of what I need and try to stick to what you're going to cook that particular week.
Mhm.
And then just buy that. Sometimes you get tempted. The grocery stores are organized to tempt you into
Right.
buying different things, and
Uh,
it adds up.
It
Yeah.
can
So
really,
my fridge. So I don't have a refrigerator. I used to. When we moved to Charlotte, I actually had a deep freezer, and I have a commercial kitchen. So and I still have the commercial, the shared use commissary kitchen. So I have a freezer there and a refrigerator shelf. But because I'm not doing the kind of things I was doing in Greenville here in Charlotte, I don't have a high use for it. I just do some
right.
demos and some education. And I have the event coming up. So I do. There is some work that I do, but it's always good to have they use packaging that
Mhm.
is compact. Don't get giant
Yes.
those big Glad things. Don't, unless you're stacking and you have a deep refrigerator, or
Right.
if your refrigerator is narrow, your freezer is narrow, then you need to get things that are short and flat, like the little Ziploc, the
Such a
little
good,
Glad ones. If
yeah.
it's deep, you need to do maybe the 32
Stacking.
ounces, and then stack them side to side, stack. Because in my freezer here, I have a deep freezer. It's
Right.
deeper. The other one I had before was narrow. So it's just a matter of making sure you have the right things so you can maximize space in your freezer,
Mhm.
and letting people know what foods can be cooked ahead and what foods cannot. There is some information. So I think we should share that with everybody. Like, what foods can be cooked ahead in your experience, Sangeeta and Marla, and what foods cannot. Or what foods are best cooked ahead. I know that there's certain things that you can't cook ahead because it comes out like mush,
Right,
obviously.
like pasta and stuff is harder to cook ahead, but it seems like chilies and soups and stews and things like that are really easy. But I think you also, I don't want to change what the subject was, but I think just talking about like putting stuff in the freezer is a really good thrifty move, like, because when you get bumper crops of things and you can make all these,
Yes.
and stews and stuff, put them in the freezer, um,
Hmm.
it seems like a freezer might be a better investment than a second refrigerator, in terms
Hmm.
of thrift.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
and what I would say is, for cooking lentils, it's handy to have a pressure cooker.
Yeah.
But if you can't invest in a good pressure cooker, you can soak things ahead of time.
Mhm.
And
Hmm.
one thing I always do is, because I know that my week is going to be busy, so on weekends I soak a bunch of things, bunch of
Yeah.
lentils, and I sprout them, and then I put them in the refrigerator.
Mhm.
And then when I need to eat it, then once they're soaked, they literally take only 10-15 minutes to cook,
And they're
and
more
then
digestible then too.
more digestible too, more tasty as well.
Mhm.
um, and then I make 2 or 3 servings
Mhm.
at one time, and then I save it. I eat one and save one, and then I put different kinds of dressings each time on
Hmm.
to make it
Awesome.
different.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. And
Right.
also making your sauces ahead, like
Right.
not just that, but you said your lentils. If your dressing, your dressings are good for freezing. If you have like an island stew, and
Mhm.
you don't want to, or even some of your sauces for if you're making edamame salad, just don't dress it. You
Mhm.
know,
That's a
just
good
put the
point.
dressing over here, because the second you put something acidic on a vegetable, it begins to degrade. So you
Right.
want to not do that. You want to keep those separate. So when it's time to eat it, you just add those, and it takes you only a few minutes. All these are very good tips. And I've got to get the tips on how to sprout. I'm not good at the sprouting, but I want to learn more about that, Sangeeta. So I need some
Definitely.
information. I
Absolutely.
always
So
think about
easy.
sprouting.
It's so easy to sprout. You'll be surprised how easy it is.
Yeah, I'm so mad that I don't know. I'm so jealous. I was like, listen to her. I said, listen to Sangeeta talking about sprouting. I'm supposed to be the chef. Oh, Sangeeta's over here sprouting stuff and doing stuff in 10 minutes. This is good. But no, it saves a lot of money too. It saves a lot of money, and the
It
fact that
saves
it's
a
more
ton of money.
digestible.
Oh,
And people that are new to vegan, they
Yeah.
don't want gas. They don't want the gas, right? They don't want the flagellation and gas. That will cut down on it quite a bit because it goes away in a few weeks anyway. But when you're first starting off as vegan, that sprouting or soaking cuts down on that part.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's a good thing.
And I recently learned a really good trick to preserve things like cilantro. You know, have you ever bought cilantro? And it's really hard to like keep it fresh. It goes either too dry or then it starts to rot. So a really good trick I learned is you put it in a jar with water so that the stems are dipped in the water, and then stick that jar in the refrigerator as is. And that also works for asparagus.
Right.
And then it stays fresh and nice for a long time.
Stays with parsley too. Go, Mark.
This is making me think that the component of food waste to think about also is like a little more subtle, but it's important. There are certain things that are stored better in different ways. Like basil, you don't want to put in the refrigerator. It gets bruised and brown really quickly. I think, I don't remember what all the different produce is, but like tomatoes, I think you want
outside,
not in the fridge, right?
Right. You get familiar with the best way to store your produce because some of it might be surprising. You will protect it better and extend it better. And speaking of extending, did you guys see that hack of keeping your avocados from ripening too fast? So like if you've got avocados that are on the edge, but you don't have a plan to use them anytime soon, like say your avocados might ripen the next day, but you're going to be out of town or something like that. You can keep them in the fridge underwater, like in a bin, like in a plastic container or whatever. Keep them underwater, and it will extend their ripening for weeks at a time.
It'll delay their ripening. It will delay their ripening.
That's
okay. You said So is that with the whole on or without
the whole on? I do think that there are people who
cut them in half or
cut them in half to see what, and it did also just delay everything. But yeah, the ones I saw were just the whole avocados in there, and then I think I saw some people doing the same thing with bananas. So like if you've got some so in the fridge submerged underwater.
Bananas?
Yeah.
Bananas hate the refrigerator.
I know. There's a part of me
what kind of weird video was that? I'm like, I don't know about the bananas.
I dreamt that.
Bananas will go brown in 5 seconds. Yeah.
And then the last thing I was going to say just now is I look around. I don't have the most time in the world, so I always want to maximize my time as well. But so I have like 3 or 4 places I go when I do my weekend grocery shopping, and I have it in my mind which places are the least expensive for this and the least expensive for that. So I do kind of shop around. I don't spend all day doing it, but I try to be as efficient as possible. And that's a last point I was going to make is on your grocery list, you can organize it by where the item is in the grocery store, so that you don't have like broccoli up here and then rice right below it or whatever. So you've got it organized by where the layout is of the grocery store. So that cuts down on
absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can really get out on this stuff.
That's a good tip. Well, because I used to be a meal prepper and chef, I only shopped that way. I shopped by where things were the cheapest if I had to go retail.
Right.
And I shopped by all the produce is in one part of the list. I was thinking everybody did that. Apparently,
no.
I don't think I
I
think
don't do
everybody
that.
does it.
Your
All
husband
their
grocery
grains,
shop.
like all their grains and all the everything in that aisle. I walk through the aisle before I get to the store.
Right.
So I already know where, and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what store, because pretty much stores with
I've
the
got
things
the
that we
layout.
buy,
Yes.
because the way we buy as healthier vegans, right? Healthy plant-based people.
Mhm.
We're gonna shop. We're not shopping deep in the center of the store, right?
Mhm.
So we kind of know our little 5 aisles that we go down,
Right.
right? And we know where everything is. So we don't have as much. But those who are new to veganism and they're trying to be thrifty, this will save them a lot of time instead of going into those beautifully lit,
Right.
wonderful sections that call your name and
Right.
and
So
head back and forth your
right.
money to just
And
spend
then when you're
the same amount.
hungry, if you're
Yeah.
hungry and you're grocery
Hmm.
shopping and you don't have a list, you're like,
Yeah, because there's so many vegan options. As you said, $4 billion. Is that what you said?
7.4 billion dollars.
Oh, so there's so many plant-based options, but the ones we want you to focus on, guys, have to do with being thrifty and eating a healthy plant-based. And
The
if you want to
pyramid.
get your treats, and you can get your treats if you want to, but if
Right.
you want to save money, you're going to stay away from those highly processed things that really tax your wallet.
Right.
So
Have you guys found that the placement of foods in your home, like say out on the table, like rather than inside your refrigerator, so like say a bowl of apples or oranges or whatever, rather than tucked away somewhere, encourages eating it more, and then also having like glass canisters where you can see what you have of everything, so you
That's
don't run
important.
out, is very helpful.
Yes. Because if you have a non-transparent container and you put something in it, then
Yeah.
you kind of forget it. That's an important tip.
Yeah.
that's a good tip. I was going to ask that question. So I need to do better. So So yes, what I try to do is avoid having certain things at the house. Period.
Mhm.
Because we're empty nesters, right? For the most part, we're empty nesters.
Mhm.
So it would. I'm intentional. Like if I'm going to get an apple, I'm going to get an apple. But if I'm going to get a English muffin, a whole grain English muffin, and I'm going to smear it with avocado and throw something else on the top of it, I don't know what else, maybe some arugula. I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm going to do that because
Right,
before I go to the kitchen, I kind of know. But I think it would be better to have. I do have bowls of apples and oranges, but
right,
that doesn't make me want to eat them. Honestly, I but I understand how that would be influential
right,
for somebody who doesn't want to be triggered, like kids. They have little kids or
right,
grandkids, right?
right.
And they don't want to eat their snack. So seeing that might stop them before they do it.
It
I
is
can
a.
understand that.
I think it's one of those like healthy living tips, like for people who maybe aren't so accustomed to. They're more accustomed to maybe grabbing a handful of chips or something, having
Mhm.
easy access and visual reminders of healthy foods that are prepared and ready for you is a good it's a good way to encourage the eating of those things, you know.
Right.
Right.
Mm.
Now, we talked about food, but what about other things? I
Mm.
shop at thrift
Mm.
stores a lot.
Oh yeah,
A
almost
really good.
exclusively.
First thing I
Mm.
would do is go to a thrift store if I need anything. That would be my first place to go.
The thrifty
Yeah,
vegan, thrifty
yeah,
shopping all around.
yeah. No, I
So where do you shop? Like, what do you do, Marla? Do you shop at other than food? I mean, what are you shopping for
almost
as a
grab
vegan?
all our
So,
clothes. I mean, I know everyone says 99%, but it's true. Like 99% of our clothes are from the thrift store, if not if not slightly more than that. I just it's so funny because I grew up in kind of an affluent community, and there was such shame around secondhand stuff, and now the total inversion is within me. Like I will never pay retail. Like, everything is thrifted, but it does make me a little concerned because I think a lot of people are thrifting now, and that's a very, very good thing. But it does make me
mhm.
a little concerned about the supply, if thrift stores are going to continue to get supply. You know what I mean? Of quality.
Oh
Not
yeah, they do because there's so many people. I
that's
mean, the thrift store here they are actually picky. They're not taking everything you bring because they have too much stuff.
Right.
Right. And I
Yeah.
think people just kind of just dump things there sometimes.
Right.
So
Yeah.
so there are some stores that aren't thrift stores that I go to, but in college I did thrifting. But as an adult, there's some stores that are not. I don't know what the brand. I don't even want. I'm not shouting out the brand. Just gonna say it. Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning is a brand here, and it's in the South. They have some, and it's almost like a upscale Big Lots, like
Okay.
kind of like a. So they have, um, you know, gen, and they're all it's not used, but they really have good prices. I think it's overstock from larger
Right.
vendors or stores or
Okay.
some merchandise, and you get it at a fraction of the cost you would get it at a regular retail store. So I do like saving money that way. I also like to see what other people are, you see a lot. You can just, and also being thrifty is not, don't throw things away all the time. Get things that you can reuse because the planet needs us to be more environmentally responsible. So
Right.
don't get so many disposable plates.
Yeah.
Stop buying those disposable plates. Get a plate. Buy a plate and wash it. How about wash the plate and wash the glass? If
Yeah.
you're gonna get disposable, get the recycled or
Right.
reused. So I buy it's hard to find that at a bargain, but on Amazon you can sometimes buy, or this place called the Restaurant Store. I tend to get things from there in bulk and then keep it for the year. So I might have 500 plates, but I got them for a fraction of the cost that I would have bought them at Whole Foods.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, that's
Where it costs a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
And the neighborhood listservs, or apps like Nextdoor, or Facebook Marketplace, or
Yeah.
that sort of
Facebook
thing.
Marketplace.
I
Yeah,
found
that's good.
on that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I just sold my couch. I just sold my couch on Facebook Marketplace.
Congratulations.
Shout out to because I wanted another couch. And Anthony
No,
was
I got
like,
my
"No."
air fryer. My air fryer was new in the box from Facebook Marketplace with a rotisserie and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fraction of the price. That's a good point, Sandy.
Yeah,
It's a
it
very
was
good
like
point.
yeah, and
Buying.
not only that you're saving money, but you're saving all the packaging and you're saving all the shipping that goes with it, right?
Oh my gosh, that's such a good point. And I'm not someone who orders a lot online. I kind of like to see stuff and feel it and stuff like that. But what I understand is there is so much waste from people who order stuff online, are unhappy with it or whatever, and they return it. And then the company decides that it costs too much to repackage or whatever it is they need to do to get it back out. So it goes into landfills, these new products.
Really?
Yes.
I would think they would sell them to the like consignment to the thrift stores, or
some like will go
to the
like
big
a
lots,
Marshalls. Like Marshalls or that, some of that, but there's just like a lot of people.
There's
That's
way
how
too
they
much
shop.
of it.
They just like get stuff and return it, and not realizing that it's just a lot of it, like a huge percentage of it that I don't have the statistic, but just goes into landfills because it's too much. It costs more.
Unfortunate.
It costs more to resell it, repackage, and resell.
Right. So definitely before you shop online, make sure this is like really something you're probably going to want to buy, rather than, it's so easy now,
Yeah. Now there's one thing, and it's definitely not for me, definitely not for, but it's an idea that I've heard people do, is dumpster diving.
Yeah, I have a friend who does that. Yeah.
And if you have, they go to, like, I met somebody who never buys shoes. That person goes to the dumpsters of these big box stores and dives in there to see what what they're put in there. And he said that all kinds of branded and items and all sizes you can find there.
Funny.
Yeah, but you have to wade through the other stuff.
Yeah.
Like, if they would separate the trash, I'd be like a diver. But if they're not separating the trash, I have no interest in waiting past the coffee beans and the coffee and the egg sandwich and the bacon sandwich and the sanitary napkins. Who knows what's in there? Lord,
I have a friend who used to do it, and she would like do Facebook updates while she was inside the dumpster and be like, "Hey, does anyone? I found a carton of soy milk. Does anyone want it?" And once she was in there, and another dumpster diver was jumping in, and she's like, "Oh my God, there's some other guy coming in." It's like,
how about they have a date at the dumpster?
a dumpster dive date. Oh yes. Well, that's extreme thrifty. That's extreme. But let's go. That's an extreme tip. Let's get back. Let's bring people back to so they can. That might be more viable for the vegan. You know, and I think there's nothing wrong with it if that's. I mean, that's gonna help. But I just think if they would separate. In California they do some separation. They separate things a bit. Perhaps depending on where you are, where it is, maybe that is a better fit. But what kind of tips can we give the folks who are on for their everyday life, from food, rather than gas? Maybe right now the economics of gas. There are a lot of things, and buying eco-friendly cars. Solar. I mean, are there things that we can give people tips on? I'm a food person, so I know food.
Yeah, that's kind of. Me too. Well, like my husband always notices the gas prices, but I don't. I do know there are certain people who I don't have a Costco membership, but
I am a Costcoer.
Yes. Right. There are a lot of people who say the membership is worth it just for the fuel, just for the gasoline.
Oh, okay, yeah. My husband buys. So we're both Sam's Club and Costco, and we buy. You're probably BJ's, Sangeeta. Are you in the BJ's area? Where are you?
I'm neither. I'm a thrifty person.
You're a thrifty. You're a thrifter. So we have I used to use the Costco because of a lot of catering events, and I would be able to get things in bulk because of the corporate catering. But I again, my husband loves the gas. You get, but now in Charlotte, it's not such a savings because the Costco used to be maybe 5 minutes from our house. Now we're in Charlotte, so the house we own here, it's like 20 minutes. I'm like, are you really going to drive 20 minutes to save 40 cents? And he does it. Then it's just probably more than 40 cents. It's probably 30 cents a gallon, which is significant. But that's one of the ways to save. Those memberships also save you on food. If you have a big family, you can save on your toilet tissue. Those savings are real. You just have to be able to utilize the bulk.
Right.
And I think people kind of know that, but as a vegan, I think people more think about food. How can they save on food? And the main part is really prepping. Prepping and knowing how to shop. Like we have to teach each other how to shop. The gas, the Costco's, the Sam's Clubs, those are good places for overall savings, but they're also good for bulk purchase.
Now, one thing we have done is we have put washlet in our toilet, and we do not buy toilet paper as much. And when I have to buy toilet paper, I realize how expensive it is. So that really has been a big money saver, and it's also good for the environment.
You said you buy what? You put what in the toilet?
Washlet.
Washlets. Okay, washlets instead. Okay. Are they environmentally friendly, I wonder?
Yes, they are.
Because you have the kind that are environmentally, that they're biodegradable and all that good stuff.
I mean, what's biodegradable about that? Like it just washes your parts with water.
Okay.
Oh, you mean a bidet?
Oh, bidet.
Oh, I thought you meant a washlet. When you said a washlet, I was thinking a towelette.
Yeah, and those are bad for your.
Yeah, I thought you said I thought you meant towelette.
Yeah, the bidet is one word. Washlet is another word for that.
Yeah.
Oh, washlet. Okay, good. That is excellent. That's why Sangeeta was like, "What are you talking about?" Sangeeta was like, "What are you talking about? Biodegradable? It's water. It's a water spray." Like,
I know. I was confused too, Dawn. I was like,
I didn't think of the word bidet. Yeah, that's right.
But bidet is So
I was going to ask you guys. Well, first of all, I was going to say another point is like if you go, like, say you're at Whole Foods at the deli counter or something, whatever. If you were to buy a sandwich there, as like $8 or $8 to $10, if you were to you could make so many more sandwiches for that amount of money, and not that much effort, so like rather than buy individual meals, make meals that last longer. But the other, and I know like sometimes it's just a matter of time and convenience and that sort of thing, but like generally just make meals, don't buy little things. The other point I was going to make is
Coffee is like that too.
yeah. Like I'm not a coffee drinker, but I
I'm
know
not-
that would make me crazy to be buying that I would make everything at home.
So I used to be a Starbucks junkie, and I'll tell you this. And I was a junkie for the soy Earl Grey tea latte. And it wasn't the grasshopper or whatever it was. What do they call it? Cricket or whatever it is. It wasn't that. No, London Fog. It wasn't that.
Okay.
It was just an Earl Grey tea with some agave and all soy milk. It was very simple. It would cost $5.
Yeah.
I was spending, and I would do that as kind of a tradition when I was going to the kitchen to prep. It'd be 1:00 in the morning or 12:00 in the morning, and I'd say, okay, let me get my Starbucks. I would buy it in the evening before they close, put it in the fridge. Then I take it and I warm it up at the kitchen. Kind of my motivation as I'm prepping and making food for my customers. It's a treat, but that treat was costing me. If I did it 3 times a week, because I'm prepping, I'm shopping, prepping, cooking, packaging. So I was at the kitchen 3 or 4 days a week. So I was spending $20 a week.
And it adds up for sure.
And then there was $80 a month, and oh my gosh! And then I had dinner. Other times I was on the way to a speaking engagement or some kind of thing. Here I am getting some Starbucks. I was like, I should have stock in Starbucks. People were buying me Starbucks gift cards. I was like, I need to stop. It's time to stop, because that's what people will get me as gifts. It's not like I was even getting any of their coffee. I was getting tea bags, man. So I stopped. It really rolled that back, and I saw significant savings. Like you guys were saying. I save a lot of money just making it at home. And I know a lot of people don't have time, but do you have time to just burn money? I mean, saving money matters. We need to really be more conscious about our spending, because it goes to the refuse, trash.
Right.
That generates trash. That little.
Well, I think it's just like sometimes it's just a matter of reallocating. It's like, okay, so maybe I'm spending a little more time making it myself, but I'm also not driving to Starbucks. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that, and I have, like we were saying, it adds up. $80. What was it? A month times 12, whatever that.
That was a minimum. But on average, I had to stop 2 or 3 more times because I was doing some other community engagement. And my habit was, this warm drink makes me feel good. Yeah. I didn't even make it at home. So I started just buying the brand of tea that they bought.
Yeah.
The tea bags. And it was tea bags they used. It's not like they had a steeper and they were using loose leaf tea. It wasn't even real tea. It was like, So and then I started using a little vanilla extract in my tea, just a little bit. And then I added that, and sometimes I'll make a chai tea, have some cardamom pods. I started to get my own cardamom pods in the Indian place, and then putting a little, and then next thing you know, I can make my own tea. What am I doing?
That's awesome.
So it's just a matter of time management.
I have a good question for you guys. Okay, let's say you have, let's say $15, and you're cooking for 3 people. Okay, like Don, one of your kids, and your husband, Sangeeta, your daughter, and your husband. You go to Aldi. You've got like $10 to $15. Let's say $15. What would you buy to make a really complete, delicious, filling, and thrifty meal? What are the things that you would put in your cart? Oh, there goes Sangeeta.
Sangeeta will be back. She'll be back in a minute. Yeah, so
ran out to Aldi.
She ran out. She ran out to Aldi. So I guess if I'm at $15 and 3 kids, I'm definitely buying a grain like a brown rice. I'm definitely buying a bag of brown rice. That's a couple of bucks, right? I'm buying sweet potatoes, right? And it says for webcam something happened. Okay, I'm buying sweet potatoes. I'm buying making sure. Do I have herbs and spices already, or no?
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you can.
Okay, I don't have to buy those. Okay, I'm doing that. I'm doing you can buy tofu for $1.99. I mean, I'm slamming. This food is good. Listen,
$15
and then
a lot.
And then I'm looking. I can get some quinoa. That might cost a little more. Then I'm gonna get some fresh herbs, like some parsley, and then I'm gonna get some broccoli. I can even get some broccoli on this budget. You gave me a lot of money.
You're so
You gave
funny.
me a lot of money. I'm gonna roast the sweet potato. I'm gonna roast the broccoli and put the broccoli in the sweet potato. I'm gonna have the grain on the side with the tofu, and I might even have enough for a little dressing.
You
With all
have a
that
little
money you gave me.
You can buy one of
$15.
their Earl Grey things if you want.
Yeah. Oh, I can have some Earl Grey tea. Yes.
Right.
Go ahead, Sangeeta. You didn't miss anything but my high dollar menu at
Yeah,
Aldi.
sounds delicious.
Thank you. Come on over.
Okay, so I was trying a different setup today. Now I'm back to my laptop's camera. Can you hear me?
Yeah, fine.
Yes, you sound great. Yep.
Okay, so for $15 and 3 people, I can feed 10 people.
Yes, that's no challenge to vegans. Yes, we can feed an army
as
with
a, like an
$15.
Indian woman, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So the combinations that I like are I buy quinoa and I buy chickpeas, and I will soak the chickpeas and quinoa. Chickpeas on the bed of quinoa is a wonderful combination. Then that's one. Then I could make a side dish of grated carrots. Put a little bit of maybe some kind of vinegar dressing that you have. I like umi plum vinegar, but it's expensive. But you can get balsamic and then fresh fresh ginger and fresh garlic in that.
Right.
Right. So you got your protein. You got plenty of protein. You got plenty of fiber. And then you can make a really nice dessert as well.
She has enough money for dessert. Listen,
Yeah,
we all need to do a cooking segment. So, why is this just coming in? It says hi. Oh no, who's saying hi? What just happened?
I just wrote hi.
Oh, hi! Virtual Veg Fest. Everything just came.
Yeah,
in.
it all comes together.
Yeah, it all. You have to select how you are.
Oh yeah, the individual.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sangeeta, what is your dessert?
Okay. So let's see. My dessert could be either like frozen fruit ice cream. You get
like a what do you call it? Ice cream.
Nice cream. Yeah, you put
you can
frozen
do like
mango in the blender and add a little bit of maybe homemade, or if you have some kind of a milk in it. And if the fruit is sweet enough, you don't need to add any sweetener, but otherwise you can add a little sweetener. And with mango, I like elaichi. The parts that Dawn was saying, I don't remember English words all the time. So that spice, or you can use nutmeg.
Oh, yummy. That sounds delicious.
That's
coming to your house. Okay, we'll be over in about 15 minutes. We're coming over. So Marla, what's your dish?
Okay, so mine, I just decided while you guys were talking, I'm gonna make a chili. So I'm gonna get a whole grain. I'm gonna get whatever kinds of beans. I think I could get mostly organic. I'm familiar with everything that's organic at Aldi, and I think that, so we can get. I'm gonna get tofu because I'm gonna splurge a little because I got $15 whole, and I'm gonna get I'm gonna get an onion. I'm gonna get garlic. I'm gonna have my my beans. I'm gonna have tomato sauce. I'm gonna have maybe some frozen corn or something like that to thicken it up. I'm gonna add my spices at home, my chilies powder and garlic powder, and I do the double garlic thing. And then I'm gonna, heat it up. For 3 people, we could do 1 or 2 avocados. It doesn't matter. And then that would be all I need to do. I've got nutritional yeast at home, so I'll throw some of that in there. And but now I'm hungry for chili. But the other thing I was thinking, like with a dessert, this would cost the $15 because of how much more it would be. So you have like the dates at Aldi. You've got like peanut butter and maybe some vanilla and just kind of smush it with like some cacao powder or whatever. You've got some nice date balls. That would be easy, but that would be more expensive at Aldi, but I'm
Well,
just
yeah.
the main
But
course.
those are good ideas, though. But a dessert. So I mean, those are just really good ideas. We need to just be thinking of being creative. But the $15, again, you can eat $5. If you get that
That's
same
true.
thing on $5 for 2 or 3, you can literally make something without the dessert and still be in $5 because we just have to
Right.
get 3 ingredients. We
Right.
already have the. I'm assuming I have aromatics. I wasn't trying to add in the
Yeah.
aromatics. But even that is very cheap because you can just get one
Right.
onion. That's 40 cents. What is that? 40 cents at Aldi's? Like
Yeah,
almost
it's
nothing.
not much. But especially if you
So
already have certain things at home, like if you've got potatoes, if you've got onions or whatever, you just adding
right,
extra stuff to it.
that
Yeah.
that's one of the things we need to make sure we have a restocked pantry. So when you're vegan, making sure your pantry has a good mix of the dried bulk, like Sangeeta said,
Right.
beans and things like that, and legumes. And then you have your packet, your canned. If you're in a hurry, you can go and
Right.
get 49 cents. You can pay 49 cents for a can. You just need to rinse that stuff off.
Right. Get
But
the
because you
salt.
may be in a hurry, you don't want to soak. But you can go to Aldi's especially and get a 49-cent can of any bean or pea that
That
you
is
might want.
actually that's a really good point. And one of my thrifty ideas is also that don't run out of food. Don't run out of your pantry staples.
Right.
Because that's when you make less
Bad mistakes.
thrifty choices. I'm just gonna eat out because blah 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 blah. But like I'm always got chickpeas on hand. I get really anxious if I'm out of chickpeas. I get anxious when bananas get low. So there's certain
Black beans.
yeah. So it's one of
Right.
my tips is to think about the items that you always like to have on hand and make sure that you've always got them.
Right. Like there was a good point Sangeeta made. I think it was Sangeeta that said, no, it was you, Marla. Go to the ethnic grocery stores because then you're gonna get so I get my chickpeas in big bags from the Indian store. It's so from Indian grocer. There's so much things that I get, so many things that I get. The prices are so low.
Yes.
It's amazing. And then you just have to be able to utilize the bulk. And
Right.
it's cheaper to buy it in bulk. And it's not a big bulk. It's not too big.
Yeah.
But it certainly saves you a lot of money. And soaking them saves you a lot. I mean, we're talking about saving.
Yeah.
You're going to spend some. Nothing's free. So if you're going to save money, you are going to spend a little time. But
Right.
if you manage the time, you can do a lot in a little bit of time.
That's such a good point.
So you're going to spend a little time. But isn't it worth it? You're going to be watching Netflix anyway, or watch or on the phone.
I think
kind
you're
of
right. I
killing
mean,
time.
I think sometimes it just has to do with what you're willing to sacrifice, and it's like I'm willing to spend a little more time to make the food I want to make and the quality that I want, rather than order in, order out. What it just that's gonna cost money.
Yeah. Now, one thing, I know we have 7 minutes before the top of the hour. One thing I must mention that by eating well, we are going to already save a ton of money on medication and
That's
various
a great point.
surgeries and procedures and this and that. So that saving is already built in when you eat a well-balanced diet.
I agree.
That is so true.
Yeah.
So it's $3.7 trillion a year in the United States on healthcare. 3.7. And we're talking about 7.4 billion on food, this plant-based. $3.7 trillion, and the aggregate family member, each member is paying $5,400 a year for somebody else's healthcare if they're not the one going to the hospital or getting services. So that's a huge point. You're going to pay one way or another.
Yeah.
So don't, and it's better to lower our aggregate cost of health in the United States. And our overall cost of healthcare is 3.7 trillion in indirect and direct costs. Direct cost is 1 point something trillion. That's a lot of money. I mean, we need schools, we need better roads, the things that we need.
Yeah.
So that's a great point, Sangeeta. We got to pay with our health, and just being vegan isn't enough. Being vegan is great. That's great. Being vegan is the first line of defense. The second line of defense is healthy vegan. And then we've got to get there. I know that's and if that means you just do a treat once a week at your little treat thing, and you want to have your ice cream stack or whatever that is, stack on. But 6 days a week, don't do that. The beyond get far beyond the beyond. Just if you're vegan, if you're transitioning, understood.
Right.
But it costs a lot of money, and it has oils and food, things we're addicted to. It has. So we just want to make sure that we don't continue to tax our endothelial cells and our body function by adding in some of the things that are in the meat. So we got rid of the heme iron and the heuristical but we kept the oil and the fat that's added to the thing that's cholesterol, that has no cholesterol. So you added the cholesterol to something that had no cholesterol.
Right.
And then you're selling it to us. So it's kind of weird.
It's funny because it used to be that if you were vegan, you necessarily, ate pretty simply. I mean? There just weren't these tempting,
right,
more highly processed things. They just, I mean, the burgers people refuse today, the ones that are like black bean or beet or whatever, were the ones that we had then, and it's funny because out of one side of the mouth, people are saying, oh, vegans eat such processed foods. On the other side, veganism didn't really take off until this stuff became more, so
yeah.
It's
so it made it more accessible because it was more familiar for folks.
Yeah.
But I fear that there's this. I think there's a study that a nurse Lori, you don't know her, but she and I are really close. She's told me there was a study that talked about vegans and then hopefully plant-based and the difference in the outcomes. And I said, please share that study. I'm not going to speak on it. That I would like to see that study because I'm just concerned in the long run. What that's going to look like with all the processed products. And again, I came into veganism at the time and all this 2017. So I never knew, I wasn't a part of the early movement, but I still started off with the grains and the nuts and the legumes because I started off on the health.
With the health, yeah.
I didn't start off on when you start off with the animals, which is great, the health should still be important because you need to be around to save them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You don't need to be in the hospital.
You're right. And you need to be a role model for other people to follow you, right?
A role model,
if you're sick
right.
all the time, then it's already people say that vegan diet doesn't give you all the nutrients and so many misconceptions in the society.
It adds to the confusion around it. But yeah, being a thrifty vegan really just means being a healthier buyer, shopper.
Yeah, I think a lot of times it is getting back to the basics. We don't need all these extra bells and whistles. We just getting back, like I was saying, back to the basics, back to the roots. It doesn't mean that you have to spend hours and hours in the kitchen. I certainly don't. But it does mean, just like. I think it's kind of a muscle, and that the more that you exercise it, the more your brain gets trained to think like that, how you can save money, how you can also save money and time at the same time, and that sort of thing. So, and I know a lot of people who did not enjoy cooking until they became vegan. And a lot of times it was because, years ago there weren't all these items and it was harder to eat out, especially if you live, But I think that's a really cool little aspect of going vegan. Not everyone loves cooking, but I think a lot of, like I said, I think there are a lot of people I've talked to who just discovered that they enjoy cooking.
Yeah, and whether they enjoy or not, like once you become vegan, you think about food a lot.
Yes. Yes. You suddenly, food is your life. Yeah, I was doing food, but it became more interesting. It becomes more interesting.
Yeah,
it's much more interesting because you have 60,000 beans.
That's true.
I mean, there's a repository in Alaska somewhere or Antarctica that has all the beans. They're like 30 or 40,000 beans varieties. Just in case the world goes bonkers, we have some beans. So I mean, we can be endlessly thinking about food.
It's true. It's so funny because I think people think of us as like they think of us two ways. One is that we're like mainlining processed foods, or the other is that, we're like, monks sitting on top of our little, and we don't.
Vegan,
The reality is, if you talk to vegans, we're obsessed with food. We can talk about it nonstop.
I think we all have that in common. Absolutely. So we've had a great show, Stu, today. I hope we got some tips about how to shop the perimeter of the store, how to shop different stores to save money, how to prep, how to store your food, how to cook ahead, and how to just go back to the basics. So I think that we've kind of brought that point home to you guys. So listen, the smaller Stu crew came through. I think we did it. I think we did okay. I want to thank our sponsors, Fabulous, Rebel Cheese, Toto Foods, Follow Your Heart, Revolution Gelato, Cinnaholic, and yes, I'm reading it, and Charity. And if you want to try to win those wonderful prize packs, go to the YouTube channel for Veg Fest, Triangle Veg Fest, or go to our Facebook page. And we thank you for tuning in tonight. And please go out there, save money, save animal lives, save human lives, and save the environment. We've got to do it together. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.